구원해준 나의 천사 나의 세상 난 이상 새 고향이 널 만나러
It was Valentine's Day, and the air inside the mall carried a soft hum of laughter, music, and hurried footsteps. Decorations glowed in crimson and rose, with heart-shaped balloons floating lazily above. Ryan and Jimin strolled slowly, arms heavy with shopping bags. They bought little things, gifts for themselves, trinkets for Ryan's cat, even items they did not need. The joy was not in owning, but in sharing the moment together. Each store shimmered with warmth, yet Jimin's heart carried its own quiet chill. Ryan passed before a mirror, lifting a pale top under her neck. Her eyes searched for his reflection more than the fabric. "How is it?" she asked. Jimin studied her for a beat, then answered, "A size smaller would suit you." Her lips curved into a small nod before she slipped deeper into the racks, searching. Jimin's hand hovered near the shelves of greeting cards, fingers brushing a glossy red cover, a Valentine's card. His throat tightened and he quietly placed it back. Suddenly, a wave of cheers broke through the steady hum of the store. Both of them turned instinctively, watching as a young man dropped to one knee. The girl clasped hands to her mouth before leaping into his arms with radiant joy. The crowd clapped, some whispering in envy, some smiling with hope. It was the fourth confession they had seen that afternoon. Jimin blinked at the scene, his eyes flickering, before lowering his gaze and turning back to the shirts. Wayan paid little mind, her arms now full of cat food and clothing she planned to try on. She vanished into the trial room with ease, curtains sliding closed. Jimin lingered by the wall, watching people walk past with bouquets in hand. Everywhere he looked, love was unfolding like pages of a book he could never write. No one's eyes had searched for him, no hand had reached for his. With a fine sigh, he slipped toward the trial room, shoulders heavy with unspoken longing. "Shall we go eat something?" Ryan asked as they stood at the counter, placing their items down one by one. Her voice carried a brightness that seemed to cut through the crowded noise, settling softly in the quiet corners of Jimin's heart. "Yeah, I'm hungry too," Jimin replied, his tone gentle yet tired in a way only Ryan might notice. The cashier rang up their purchases with steady rhythm, the crinkle of shopping bags filling the silence between their words. As they stepped outside the store, Ryan slipped her hand onto his arm without hesitation. The warmth of her touch was casual yet comforting, guiding him through the bustling hallway. Their footsteps fell into sync, carrying them toward a nearby restaurant, glowing under amber lights. After dinner, the world outside had grown quiet, the night air cool as Ryan and Jimin made their way back to his house. The faint glow of street lamps followed them, their laughter soft, carrying the warmth of a shared evening. Inside, Jimin kicked off his shoes and turned toward her. "Want to play games?" he asked, voice light with expectation. Wayne's answer came instantly, almost eager. Yes. Her smile made the question feel unnecessary, like an invitation already accepted in her heart. She carried the shopping bags inside, pausing only to offer a cheerful hi to Jimin's parents before slipping quietly to his room. It was familiar territory, a space that felt more like comfort than walls and furniture. The television screen already glowed with bright colors as Jimin switched on the console. Controllers were ready in his hands, waiting for the familiar routine. Ryan dropped the bags lazily by the corner and sank into the shared cushion, her body melting into comfort. Their shoulders nearly touched as they leaned forward, eyes locked on the big television before them. The game world blinked alive, and the room settled into a cocoon of soft lamplight, laughter, and the gentle hum of the console. No, I will not let you win this time, Ryan declared, her voice half serious, half playful. She gritted her teeth, eyes narrowed at the glowing television screen. Her hands moved quickly over the controller, determination sparkling like fire in her gaze. Jimin chuckled under his breath, his focus unshaken. You have to finish my assignment if you lose. He bargained shyly, confidence dripping from his words. The corner of his lips curved, his tone teasing yet daring, as though victory was already his. Wayan smirked, tilting her head, refusing to break her concentration. Deal, she said simply, her voice low with certainty. She knew the rhythm of the game, the sharp turns and tricks, and believed her victory was inevitable, written in her confidence. Their shoulders nearly brushed as they leaned closer, the cushion dipping beneath their weight. The room was filled with bursts of color from the television and the quiet tension of two friends locked in battle, each refusing to surrender to the other. And that was when it happened. Amid the sound of button clicks and the roaring television, another noise drifted in through the window. Music, laughter, and the cheers pealed from the streets outside. A reminder that Valentine's Day was still alive and celebrating. Jimin's fingers faltered slightly, his concentration slipping. His gaze lingered on the bright television, yet his thoughts wandered far beyond the game. In a voice soft but weighted, he whispered, I wasn't proposed this year, too. Ryan blinked, startled, unsure if she had really heard him right. Huh? She asked, her eyes shifting to catch his side profile. His expression was calm, but something fragile cracked beneath the surface, breaking through in trembling honesty. I wasn't proposed this year too, Oyen, he repeated, the words heavier this time. In high school, I was only pranked, caught on camera like a fool. Since then, not even as a joke, no one proposed to me. His eyes remained fixed on the flashing screen, but she could see it, shakiness in his gaze, a subtle quiver in his lips. Am I that unlovable? He asked, voice strained. The game's glow lit his face, but the pain dimmed him inside. It's not what you Ryan said quickly, her heart tugging at his confession. Her voice carried urgency, as if she wanted to protect him from his own thoughts. but Jimin only scoffed softly, disbelief curling at the edge of his mouth. It is what it is, Ryan, he murmured, his voice low yet firm. I can see it. His eyes finally turned toward hers, locking for a beat, fragile truth flickering between them, before he looked back at the television screen. You are not unlovable. Ryan's voice had softened, from yet steady, her gaze flickering briefly toward the television as though afraid of the silence of words might sleep behind. The room felt heavier now, the hum of the game fading into background noise. I am, Jimin replied quietly, his fingers still hovering over the buttons, refusing to press down. His voice was calm, but beneath it lay exhaustion, the kind that came from years of carrying silent hurt no one ever seemed to notice. That was all she could take. The controller slipped from her hands, clattering gently on the floor, forgotten. The game no longer mattered. Her heart pulsed with urgency, her body moving before her mind could hesitate, pulled entirely by love. Her palms reached for his collar, fingers curling into the fabric, firm but never harsh. She lifted his chin, forcing his gaze toward her. His wide eyes met hers, startled, vulnerable, as though caught between disbelief and hope. Have you any idea how much I love you? Have you any idea? Her words came out sharp and trembling, cracked with years of silence. Her eyes never left his face, tracing every detail. The softness of his gaze, the freckles, the fragility that made him human. Jimin's lips parted, but no words came. He seemed to forget how to blink, frozen under her intensity. His chest rose shallowly. He swirled and reveled. As the truth he had long buried stood naked before him, spoken without restraint. Out of all people, why do you think I spend all the Valentine's days with you? With only you? Ryan's voice broke out the silence, raw and her first his, desperate for him to finally see he was always there. Jim finally blinked, his lips parting slightly as though her words had startled him. His heart raced, his each beat colliding with disbelief. He sat frozen, still clutching the controller, though the game no longer existed between them. I bought that cat for you, she confessed, voice fragile yet steady, so you would come to my home, spend time with the cat, and I could be next to you. Her truth spilled freely, unguarded and painfully tender. Jimin's eyes widened further, the realization striking him like the quiet gestures, the hearts spent together, the warmth he thought was ordinary. It was love, woven into every moment, disguised as friendship but meant only for him. Don't look at me like that, she whispered, finally releasing his collar. Her hands trembled slightly as she turned towards the bags she had carried earlier. With a quick motion, she reached inside and pulled out the first item. Here, she said softly, holding up the greeting card he had handed over that afternoon. Her voice quivered, but remained steady enough to speak. I bought this for you. She placed it gently before him, as if it were something sacred. And this, she added, lifting a shirt, carefully chosen in his style. And this, she continued, revealing a watch, sleek and elegant, perfectly his taste. Her hands moved quickly, almost nervously, as though afraid he would not believe her devotion. Do you know how much I tried to buy these without your knowledge? And what? react with effort, her eyes glistening with truth. Jimin stared, his breath short, unable to comprehend the weight of her love, unable to believe it was truly his. And you have no right to say you're unlovable. What he said. Her voice hit firm, trembling with the weight of her truth. You're the easiest to love. Her voice hung in the room, echoing louder than the silence. She rose slowly, carrying her bags with steady hands, though her heart beat in uneven rhythms. Turning toward him once more, she whispered with conviction, "I assure you to how much I love." Without waiting for his response, Walden moved to the door. The footsteps soft earth to the mind. A faint creak of the few boats followed her, each sound carving itself into the stillness, and then the door closed gently behind her. Jimin remained frozen, his body refusing to move, his mind replaying every word she had left behind. His gaze finally dropped, settling on the pile of gifts spread before him. The card, the shirt, the watch, every quiet devotion made visible. His fingers reached out slowly, trembling as they brushed the edge of the card, feeling that they afraid the items might vanish for the first time too quickly. Were they truly for him and no one else?